Welcome everyone. I am your host, Jabbari, and I'm happy to participate in the 4th edition of Podcasthon. For 1 week, thousands of podcasters will be highlighting a charity of their choice to increase awareness. And this year, I am highlighting Girl Gone International, and I have the pleasure of welcoming Ann Scott, the founder. She founded Girl Gone International in 2010 as a way to overcome her own social isolation while living overseas. Today, it has grown to a worldwide community with over 500,000 international women and non-binary people in over 200 cities, and its mission is to connect, represent, and empower those who are living outside the country of their birth. Welcome, Ann. Thank you so much for coming.
It's lovely to see you here.
So first, in 2010, what was going on that you're like, I want to start this?
Yeah, so it was my 10th international move in 10 years. And so I'd already realized at that point that moving, relocating, starting life over takes a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and it's really not easy, especially not easy to, as a woman, find friends when you arrive. And it could be often like 1 year, 2 years after moving somewhere that you finally find your friends, you find your people, and then either you move or they move. And so I realized that the fastest way to feel at home anywhere in the world was to find those first few friends. And I thought, how can I speed this process up? I'm a woman, I can't just walk into the nearest Irish pub and say, oh, hello, it's not safe. You don't feel safe. Like being vulnerable and putting yourself out there. All the events that were there kind of felt like meat markets. I didn't feel comfortable there either. And so I thought, well, I'm going to have to create what I need.
Okay. So you were deciding, and so how did you start? Did it begin with like a safe way to do it just for you and your new area, and then it grew from there? How did it become to 200 cities?
I had the extra complication that I was in a marriage where that I couldn't really go anywhere alone or unsupervised or have a life outside of the home. And I thought I definitely can't go and socialize like any other person my age would have. I was in my maybe late 20s at that point, early 30s. And so I thought, how can I get out of the house, go find friends, be sociable, but still be safe when I get home? And so the idea occurred to me, well, if it's in a known place, a specific time, a specific day, and it's women only, then it was going to be more possible and the repercussions would be less. And so that's how I started it. So one day I just started to go online and look for other women who were living abroad in Hamburg, which is where I was at the time. So I was like creeping on people, finding people, but in a nice way, in a healthy way, and reaching out to them. And then I suggested a time and a place that was really easy to get to for all of us, in a safe place. And we met up for the first time. And then it kind of grew very organically, very naturally from there, because it turns out it's not only me that was feeling lonely in Hamburg, struggling to make a life there and finding it hard to meet people. So it's a global issue. It's a very human need. And so that's how it spread.
Yeah, and in your website and stuff, it was talking about not just expats, for instance. It's like refugees or people who've had to move to a new country, not necessarily by choice. Sometimes it's for work, sometimes it's a marriage, it's something, but sometimes it's because their home country's war-torn or something. So it's nice that we all have these different reasons, and all, you know, some might be in a safer situation or economically different situations, but there were a couple of things that you guys had in common. You were mostly women, and you were in a new country, most likely speaking a new language that was not your mother tongue, and that made it feel, and because you made it very, was it like a public place, like on a meetup? I don't know, do you guys have meetup.com or something like in 2010?
Yeah, that's basically how it started. And so I've always been kind of obsessed since then about using online tools and spaces and creating online communities, but they must meet in real life, because that's where the happiness and the friendship and the connections and the real sense of community and belonging occur, is in real life. So I think it's hard for me to remember back now how I started it, but I think it could have been on meetup.com, using different platforms, using Facebook. But at the time, Facebook didn't have groups or even pages back then.
Wow.
This is way back in 2010. So the world that we have now, with everything being like multiple platforms and multiple ways to connect, online just didn't exist. So there's a lot more legwork was required back then. But the good thing, of course, about connecting online is it is more accessible for more and more people. So like you said, like we don't even use the word expat at GGI. We try to avoid it. In fact, the name Girl Gone International, I don't know if it's aged very well. We often think, should we drop the girl? But we've kind of got too big at this point, but it's something that we're conscious of and thinking of. So it's a very like equitable space that people can come into and then connect. So whether you've moved abroad for economic reasons, environmental reasons, for conflict back home, for adventure, for love, for career reasons, there's so many reasons to be in a city at the same time. The reasons for relocation are, like you said, it's not always by choice. A lot of the time, especially more and more, is driven by circumstance. And then once you get in that same city, every single person there is living a very different experience. So you're an immigrant in that city, and even though you're in the same place at the same time, it does not mean that you are living the same life, the same lifestyle. You're not being treated the same. You don't have the same level of access. You don't have the access to resources or networks or housing, or it's completely different. But what I do love about our community is that everyone's quite aware of this, and if they're not in the beginning, that's okay. It's very normal. Like if you come like for fun and whatever, you arrive in Madrid, say, and you're like, oh, this is the best city in the world, I'm having the best time, you'll very, very quickly realize that not everyone else is having the best time. And that's part of your growth when you move overseas, is that you become a lot more conscious of the place that you're living in and of the immigrant experience, which is very wide and broad. And then oftentimes that you will develop like relationships and connections with people that you would never have done in your own home city. And so your whole world expands, and you learn more about the world and how women move through it, or how they can't move through it. And then that's how we connect in very, very meaningful ways. And you can have friendships with people you would never have known were out there. And it's just really beautiful, because your whole world, like I said, expands when you meet women and Girl Gone Internationals, or GGIs as we call ourselves, from all across the world.
So what are some ways that people can get involved or help with GGI?
Yeah, so we are completely volunteer driven. This is definitely not a one woman show. Over the years, we've had like thousands and thousands of volunteers come and co-create our community. We are 1,000 volunteers, actually 1,073 volunteers right now, and we all make a commitment to each other and to the community to participate, to create community. And that can be either online, so creating conversation within the groups, like moderating it, make it a nice, safe space that's very much aligned with our values. Because online spaces, as we know, can be very toxic and very unhealthy. And that's one thing I'm super proud of what we've done, is create these very, very safe, supportive spaces that are very accessible for everyone. And then a lot of volunteers, they create events. And so we commit to each other that we will create 9 events each per year in the communities that we are in. And that could be absolutely anything. It can be, for me, an event is like, it could be 2 people plus. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's accessible, it's easy to get to, that it's not scary to attend, and once you're there, that you have like a meaningful exchange and a good time. And so that's what the volunteers do. They put a lot of energy and a lot of love into creating these really, really nice moments where we can come together wherever we are and just meet each other. And then people take it from there. Then after that, they connect, and then they go off and live their lives. Maybe they come back, maybe they volunteer. And so we're always looking for people to join us and help us.
With with like safe passages, a lot of listeners and a lot of the guests, and me included, are nomads. So we're not always based in one area. So are any of your volunteers kind of, oh, I'm new to, let's say, Phuket, and I volunteer with GGI, but then in 2 months I'll be in Boston. Would that work, or does it have to be, the volunteer has to be in one, particularly one
No.
place because they know the area?
No, it's just like you said, that we all are very mobile. That's the nature of our lives, the nature of our communities a lot of the time. And so somebody who's a volunteer in one city, they might want to move to another place, or they have to move somewhere else, and they're more than welcome to continue volunteering there. So we have now, it's 270 local communities, and it's actually 1 million GGIs. We counted, not manually, but we did our end of 2025 review, and we have like over 1 million GGIs across the communities in 270 local communities. And so yeah, you can go anywhere and volunteer anywhere. We're very, very open to helping that happen. In fact, this morning I saw a volunteer from Berlin just moved to Dubai, and so she's starting to volunteer there. And then I was on a call the other day with GGI who's in Alicante, and she was telling me she has one daughter who volunteers in Singapore, and her other daughter volunteers with GGI in London. And I love this.
There you go.
So special.
This is so cool. So one of the things is that you also started in the last year, Gone International.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that is and the difference and how that has helped with GGI?
Yes, so GGI has always been like funded by myself, and which means it has very, very little funding. So how do we make this sustainable? Like, how do we scale? So we've scaled our community via pure passion, pure volunteer energy, like with purpose, you know? So we've not had to have too much funding. And also the times that I've looked for funders or supporters in the past, I've not enjoyed the experience. There's always some kind of trade-off. There's always some kind of one on the other side. If it's an investor, for example, like, what's your exit strategy? I have no exit strategy. I'm in this forever. And so it's always been in my mind, like, how do we become financially sustainable? Because we are roadblocked. Our growth is blocked, because at the point we were at last year, I was actively not opening new communities, because every time we open a new community, there is a cost there. So I had to start thinking, like, how do we fund this community? How can GGI stand on our own two legs financially? Because I'm not getting any younger. I have exactly zero savings, no pensions, no nothing. And so I have to start thinking about my own future, and I don't want my own future needs to compromise the legacy and the sustainability of GGI. And so we thought, what do we want to do? We want to travel. So although our community is not about travel, there is a huge desire to travel. There is a natural component of travel in our lives, and we want to travel together, because often we're overseas and we're alone. Our friends are at different stages of life or in different countries, but we don't necessarily want to go to certain places on our own or have certain experiences on our own. Like, it's great. I love solo travel. I travel solo a lot also, but there's something very, very different about having inbuilt friends. So you arrive there and you immediately have a connection point, which is, oh, we all live overseas. We're all from different countries. So if there's 18 people on the trip, you're pretty much guaranteed that there's 18 extremely interesting stories. There's 18 different cultures, passports, visa situations, languages going on there. And so you immediately, it's an interesting environment to be in. And also because everyone's had the experience of living overseas, everyone's empathy is off the charts. Like, everyone's so aware of each other, very conscious, very kind, very caring, very interesting. And there's always something to talk about. So we thought, can we combine like the community and the travel together and also make it accessible? Because sometimes I look at these trips and I'm like, wow, I want to go to Jordan. I'm like, how much? It's like 4,000, 5,000. I'm like, who can afford these trips? So I always thought in my head, there's got to be a way. And so there is a trade-off for us. So this is our sustainability route. It's not going to bring in huge amounts of money, but it's going to be enough to sustain the community and keep GGI alive and growing and supported, while making travel and the world more accessible to women, because that's ultimately the goal in everything we do at GGI is access. That we're trying to make the world safer by creating more access to each other, access to resources, access to local community, and access just to different countries as well, because there's amazing places out there. We don't feel safe often in our own towns or in our own workplaces. We certainly don't feel safe in certain other parts of the world. But if you go together and everything's organized and taken care of, because we're tired, like everyone's so tired. There's so many decisions, there's so much overwhelm. And then you're like, oh no, I had to coordinate a 2-week trip on my own to Jordan and keep myself safe. And it's just too much for us. So this is like, okay, everyone wins. So GGI wins because we have a small source of income coming in the right way inside the community itself. So it's like almost like an ecosystem we're trying to create where everything's kept inside the community. We're not like using and abusing each other to make money, because I've always hated that. I hate these companies that prey on the vulnerability of women. Like, here, like, join this community and pay X amount a month for friendship. I'm like, friendship is free. Like, it's a human right. Like, why are you putting friendship behind a paywall? Like, it drives me absolutely crazy. And the same with travel. But now that I've been in the travel game for a while, I understand the cost, because it's a really expensive business. The overheads are massive. There's multiple moving parts, moving people, moving circumstances. So I've been learning a lot about the industry. It's not what I thought. And so every day I'm learning, which is keeping me interested as well. So it keeps me personally fulfilled, because I love to learn new things and work things out. And it's keeping GGI sustained as well. So that's the difference. It's Gone International is the travel company, the group travel company that now funds GGI, which is the Community Interests Organization.
Yeah, and I think that's a clever way of looking at it. You're like, I mean, we're not about travel, but what do we have in common? Well, we traveled, and so that's something we know what it's like. So yeah, and then I liked that you pointed out, you know, a lot of these more places over like luxury, let's like go as a group as strangers, but they overcharge a lot of the times, and you're like, I don't want to do that. However, you're learning, oh, that's why it costs so much. So I appreciate the transparency, but it's nice to know that you're like, it's this cost because I need to get your visas, I need to get this, and I need the insurance, but also a portion of it still is going to GGI. That was the whole point.
It's the whole point. Yeah, that's the underlying purpose. That's why it exists. I wouldn't do this. I don't think, if I knew what this business entailed and I didn't have the purpose to do it, I wouldn't do it. It's just extremely difficult. But because it's so rewarding, because you see quickly the outcome, like I can host a team summit this year as a direct result. I can pay the insurance bill, which is thousands and thousands and thousands to insure our events at GGI. I don't have to go get a quick job somewhere to pay for that myself. So it's all, I feel like it's all starting to slowly come together. After 16 years, it's slowly coming together. The pieces are starting to fit. So it's definitely not been like a kind of overnight success. It's definitely an accumulation of like 16 years and then accumulating and everyone coming together to find a solution to our sustainability issue.
Well, it's lovely to hear. I mean, like, you really do have a passion for it, and it came from personal experience and things. So is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you wanted to share and let people know, listeners know, how they can learn more, get involved, be more aware of helping out with GGI or women who travel in general? Or
yeah, for sure.
New?
I think for the wider world, I think it's definitely, we're very like pro-immigration, because we are all immigrants. And so I'm kind of, yesterday obviously we're all watching the halftime like Super Bowl at NFL, and we're like, yes. So that kind of feeling, if you want to harness that, when you realize like there is so much love in the world and you can participate in that. You don't have to participate in the absolute shit show that's happening over there. You can go into your communities. You can support the immigrant population that are there, that have created the cultures that you are living in. Like, we're all immigrants. At the end of the day, you just go back a couple of generations in most families and you can see human mobility. That's what we've always done. We've always moved as a species. This is how we are. This is who we are as humans. And so this like vilifying of who we all are, I think is what's really getting to us. It's just cruel and it's completely unnecessary. So I think if you are not an immigrant living in your country currently, there's so many organizations that could use assistance and help and support in whatever way you are able to provide that, because everyone's different. Some people have time, some people don't, some people have influence, some people don't, some people have money, some people don't. There's multiple ways to support the local immigrant community. And if you're an immigrant yourself living anywhere, we have 270 local chapters, and we would welcome you with open arms if you want to come and volunteer with us. We try to make it a really healthy, lovely space. We have a lot of support networks and resources to make it easier to volunteer. But I mean, it's never easy to volunteer. You're given a lot of yourself as a volunteer. And we are like highly conscious of that, and we do try to support where possible, but it's very much a peer-to-peer model. I don't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers. We just try to help each other out as far as we can. So that's what I would say. And we are kind of housed and homed on Facebook. For right or for wrong, it's just where we are as a free platform. And so if you're looking for us, you can go into Facebook and look for groups and just type in Girl Gone International plus the city that you're in. Or if you go to our website, we're just doing a little update right now on the map. It should be finished soon, and that's girlgoneinternational.com. And if you want to go on some of our trips or just have a look, you're more than welcome to come on the trips. You do not have to identify as an immigrant, as a GGI. You're more than welcome to come on the trips, as long as, of course, you are loving of an environment where it's very, very international. With multiple people speaking multiple different languages, but we do have English in common, and you're absolutely more than welcome if you think you would enjoy that experience to join us. We have lots of trips coming up. And then Instagram, I'm going to try and get that together. For years it's been sitting in the background, so I'm getting a little bit of a break coming up. So I'm going to try and improve our Instagram. It's there, yeah. I'm going to try and
I'll put it in the show notes.
Oh, okay, you can put it in the show notes. And we're going to start using it as a platform to share stories of GGIs who are living in different countries, because it's just so interesting and fascinating to see where women end up, how they got there, and how they're doing, and where they want to go next in life.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Anne. I do have a weird question, which we could cut.
I love weird questions.
Your name.
My name?
Because it's in 2010.
Yes.
Well, I guess the movie didn't come out. The book did. But, okay, did you think of Girls Gone Wild and Gone Girl? How did you think of Girl Gone International?
I think, so I didn't hear about Girls Gone Wild until many, many years later. And also, like, men used to snicker, and I'd be like, why do you think they're saying Girls Gone Wild? And then I don't know if I was just like too innocent or something.
Okay, so I guess it's an American thing then.
I think so, but then I googled it. I avoided googling because I didn't want to ruin whatever for myself, and I googled it literally like for the first time a year ago. I was like, no.
Yeah.
So this is not good, but I think it makes it a bit sticky in people's minds that they don't forget it. And then the book hadn't come out, but I'd gone to an event maybe like 4 or 5 years after GGI started. I was in an event in Mallorca actually, and this we were in a place, and this man, like, somehow we were in a bar, so of course there's other people around, and he came up, he went, "Are you the woman that wrote Gone Girl? I absolutely love that book. Congratulations on getting it made into a film." I was like, dude, wrong person, but I was like, I wish. So we proceed all of that. And so the name was just because people kept saying like, "Oh, so you're a traveler?" I was like, "No." And they're like, "You're an expat." I'm like, "Oh, no." And so I just didn't have any way to explain or like label or to find other people like myself. And we all just converged over this. So we're international. Like, we've just gone international. So something we would just say in passing, "Oh, she's gone international. She's gone to Mexico. She's gone to..." So it's this movement gone. Was the movement that was behind it. And back then, which was like 2009, 2010, we didn't think as much of like labels and terms as we do now, rightly so. And so it just felt right to say, "Girl, I'm just a girl that's gone international." That was the thing behind it.
And thinking then, sort of a, GG, kind of
honestly,
Gilmore Girls kind of thing.
and like Women Gone International, WGI just does not flow off the tongue at all.
I was going to say, I was like, chick went, no, that doesn't work.
She's
gone international, maybe, but that feels weird.
Yeah. So yeah,
But
I just,
it works. But I was wondering if I was like, because for a while I'd be like, Girls Gone Wild, international, all that stuff. However, to your point, I mean, there's no such thing as bad publicity. You put in the Girl Gone or something, and you might be in the search results anyway.
Yeah.
So
we do have a large bounce rate on the website. So people are like, yeah, oh no, this is a social impact organization. No, that's not what I was looking for. So there's a large
now that you're
bounce rate
here.
as well. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Can you
okay,
imagine?
so I'm glad. Well, I mean, still, it worked out, and thank you so much for sharing the trajectory of how it. I mean, congratulations on all that has happened, and it's only. I mean, just Gone International is so new, and who knows what's going to happen next. So everyone can get involved and follow you, and also try and travel or help out and volunteer. If they're not female or non-binary, how can they get involved?
Again, I would probably look at other organizations, because there's so many in this space that I am absolutely sure would be more than welcoming of anyone offering time or donations to the immigrant cause, for sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you again for all the listeners. To learn more about the organization, as you heard, you can go to girlgoneinternational.com. And this wraps up a special episode as part of Podcasthon. If you enjoyed it, feel free to visit podcastathon.org to discover many other charities through the voices and talents of amazing podcasters. And till next time.